singing holy, holy Yahweh Almighty. We're singing holy.
Almighty Yahweh promises to gather everyone He gathers. I am a Hebrew. We are Hebrew.
I am a Hebrew and I was born in North Carolina.
I am a Hebrew and I was born in Tennessee.
I am a Hebrew born in Arkansas.
I am a Hebrew. I was born in Texas.
I am a Hebrew and I am from Florida.
I'm a Hebrew and I was born in California.
I am a Hebrew and I was born in San Diego, California.
I'm a Hebrew. I was born in Indiana.
I am a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. I am a Hebrew and I was born in Spain.
私はヘブルです。日本で生まれました。Soy hebrea. Nací en Puerto Rico.
I am a Hebrew from West Africa, Liberia.
I am a Hebrew and I was born in Straitway.
We are Hebrew.
Oh, well, my sister.
Shalom, shalom, sisters. Blessings to each and every one of you. Thank you for tuning in again tonight. Sister Ashley here, a proud member of the Straitway Truth ministry, a ministry that is come against so harshly and accused so much. I live here, boots on the ground, and love it. Hallelujah. So you're listening to a true witness tonight. Blessings to you, Sister Jennifer, all the way there in Georgia. Let's get a sound check from you, please.
Hallelujah. Bless you all, daughters of Zion. Like Sister Ashley said, it's such an honor and a pleasure to be a part of the Straitway Truth Ministries. My name is Sister Jennifer. I'm a part of Straitway, Georgia, where Elder Rufus is the head here, of course, under the leadership of Pastor Dow. And we are excited to follow Yeshua through the man of Yah. I pray you can all hear me tonight. Thank you all for tuning in once again for another episode of Sister to Sister. I'm excited to be here, and we just look forward to the upcoming broadcast tonight that we have.
Hallelujah. I acknowledge Yah for life, for health, and for strength, for his abundant giving. In him is no lie. Sisters, do you understand? Do you understand Yah is holy? I thank him for commanding me to be holy. I thank him for Deacon, who is a servant above all others, a true light and a righteous giver of himself, worthy of double honor. Blessings to Deacon Bell. And I thank Yah for every sister, every elder, every pastor that has truly given their whole heart over to the ministry, that will stand till the last day and that will endure to the end. I thank him for every sister he is cleaning up for his kingdom, and for all of you women and sisters that I would not have known without him. And the way that is straight, I thank him for a straight way. I thank him for exposing every liar. I thank him for exposing every deceiver, so that the people may be free, and for the strength that he has given me to oppose our enemies, and the passion and the zeal that burns inside of me when opposition comes our way. Blessings to each of you that listen to the sound of my voice tonight. So you can tell I'm already fired up for tonight's topic. Sister Jennifer, please give acknowledgments.
Yes, ma'am. First and foremost, I just want to acknowledge the Most High Yah for continually pouring his love upon us and showing us his mercy every single day, for bringing me to a ministry such as Straitway. And I understand that I show my gratitude through my obedience, not through the things that I say, but it's through my actions and the way that I obey. I want to acknowledge Elder Rufus, my head, who is a follower of righteousness. And I would never know this ministry or the blessing that this ministry is to me without the leading of Elder Rufus. I'm so thankful that he loves his family enough to follow truth no matter what it looks like and no matter what it costs. And I also want to acknowledge Pastor Dow for just showing us how to love like you've never been hurt. We hear the term, but we don't see it until we see the example in him. You know, one who has been lied upon many times, spoken of in evil, but still manifests a love for the people just the way that Yeshua did. And that's all I have.
Hallelujah. Just a special request from myself, from the ministry, from Mother Carol, that you would lift up Brother Steve and Sister Wenda. They are worthy of high favor in a specific court case that they are fighting through. So everyone in this ministry benefits from the websites, the newsletters, etc., all the work that they put in, all that family has done for us. They are very worthy of us lifting them up before the throne, and they're worthy of Yah giving them the victory. So just keep them lifted in the court case they're enduring and going through, things that come upon you that you don't ask for, for sure. So special thanks to the brothers that are off land, that come and labor with us. And I say that because some of those also allow their wives to come and attend, weekly, or come and help us, second day, fifth day, whatever day that they are allowed their car, their vehicle to be used by their wife to travel to help us. I specifically always like to thank them for the great help that they bring, because we need laborers. We really do in this vineyard. And there isn't a saint on this land during this season that is not being productive and that is not very busy. Days start for us when it's still dark, and they end when it's very dark. And this is our season of harvest. It's our season of plenty, and we are truly laboring here. Sisters, we are truly laboring here. You have no idea what it is truly like. So I pray each of you are not complaining or complacent. I pray that you are not making excuses for how your body feels. And I pray that you are continually moving and keeping yourself active for the Father and being very productive. Every day is and could be the last opportunity that you live that day out. So for the most part, even for myself, there's less than 5 hours of sleep a night, and no sit-down time. There's no sit-down, yik-yak, and goof off. It's moving. So unless I'm eating quickly or I'm laying down to sleep at night, I'm moving. And I pray that we have been an example to you all. If you've ever been here, or if you just see us from the videos, or even if you just hear my testimony of us. Special thanks to Carla Patterson, who is always very kind on her comments. And thank you for listening and everything that you write when you're following our YouTube page. Remember that you can email us, anyone listening to the sound of our voice, at straitwayhelpmeets@gmail.com. Straitway Helpmeets, all lowercase, @gmail.com. I'm just now catching up to the emails, and we get a lot of thank yous, a lot of questions, and I send it to the correct source. So if you're having something that you would like to anonymously send, or just even send through email instead of calling us, please choose that route. I will make sure that you are responded back to. Phone lines are open tonight if you need us, but please give us a little bit of time to crank up and start up, okay? Because if it's off topic, you may want to hold back. There are a few new listeners that are expected to be listening here tonight, and I also have with me, not to do any speaking, of course, but just to silently listen, my sister from Sweden, Sister Adele. It has been very beautiful to meet her. She's by my side just listening and hear from all the way across another country. So it's been beautiful to have her and her husband. So phone calls are open tonight if you need us. And if, once again, as I said last week, you are missing our live recording, you can find us live, follow us live on blogtalkradio.com/Straitway. Every once in a while I get that random caller that's calling in trying to listen to us live, and always getting the recordings on Straitway Helpmeets YouTube channel. So I still call in with the 310-982-4226 when I listen to Pastor. So I'm sure you could use that route as well. But our guest call-in for tonight's show, if you would like to call us, is 515-602-9654. Any announcements from you, Sister Jennifer?
Yes, ma'am. You mentioned praying for Brother Steve and Sister Wenda. And for those of you who have access to Facebook and you are in the Israelite Heritage of Straitway Facebook page, Brother Steve has posted an outline of what to be praying for. He has their situation spelled out there. So if you go there, you can, anything that you may need to know. He's got the names of individuals that you can pray against specifically. You can pray to the situation specifically. So he has everything outlined. It's been a long, ongoing battle for them, and he has definitely kept us updated, which we appreciate. So, again, if you have access to Facebook, go to the Facebook page, the Straitway, Israelite Heritage of Straitway Facebook page, and everything is outlined there. And that's all I have.
Hallelujah. Wow, Sister Adele is able to read the chat room, so bless you, Brother Joe, Sister Kelly, and anyone else giving a wave and a shout-out to our Sweden family. Her and her beautiful husband are here. I guess we'll go ahead and get started. I like to say and always remind you, for new listeners' sake, that we often cater each show to what seems to be a particular listening audience, if that makes sense. I know the righteous are listening. I know the faithful are following. I know that you are supporting us, and you just want to hear from Straitway, so you're tuned in tonight, and you're able to take whatever the Father may minister, through His Spirit to you. But tonight, or let's use last week, for example, we spoke about possibly despising your body, your looks, really rejecting yourself and wasting a lot of time rejecting yourself. We had a beautiful example of Sister Bobby and Sister Chandray loving themselves and coming to the reality and the truth that Pastor speaks is not to reject them, it's to make them love themselves and begin to make changes that are positive for their life. So that show catered to some of you. Maybe not all, but some of you, So there's always that show that's more impacting to you. Tonight is for a very different audience, possibly those who have bitten of the fruit of lies, but I hope that many of you can follow. And I wanted to start, Sister Jennifer, if you can go to Mark 4:19. We've all heard the sower that sows the word. We've heard the parable of the sower. okay, where, he goes forth to sow seed, he throws the seed, okay, and the seed is the word. But some fell by the wayside, some fell on stony ground, y'all know the story, some fell among thorns, and some on good ground. So we're going to begin tonight there with the heart that receives the word sown among thorns. And as even Grandma Barr brought back to my attention and memory from many years ago, pastor preaching and really bringing out discernment, saying, when you come through this ministry, it doesn't matter, and these are my words, not pastors, but whether you're a drive-by saint, you're here for, you're just checking in, you just clicked on us, you just found us, or you may be here for weeks, months, years. You may live on a community for weeks, months, years. Whatever the case may be, you have the choice to hear the word with stony ground, thorns, good ground, etc. So every single one of us fall into these categories through the Messiah's eyes, not our own high and lofty opinions of ourselves. So we can pick and choose every sermon, every video, everything that we hear is an opportunity to be good ground. And so if you go to Mark 4:19, let's just highlight a few key points from that scripture as we move forward.
And the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things entering in, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. And these are they which are sown on good ground, such as hear the word, and receive it, and bring forth fruit, some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100.
Okay, so you have those that are going to come through this ministry, and they're going to receive the word sown among thorns, meaning they're going to be distracted by the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things entering in. Remember, focusing on lust, not even sexually as the American mind goes, but a lust is a longing or a greed for what is forbidden. So what happens when you partake in these things or give more thought to the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things, is going to choke out the word, and you will be unfruitful. And even John says, "O righteous Father, the world has not known you, but I have." And right there makes a clear distinction between, or let's say separating every human to one side or the other. You're either of the world or you're of the truth. And every one of you can say, "I have not known you, Father." Every one of them, I can say it. "I have not known you, Father." And so few of us can say, "I know you, Father," or "I'm learning you, Father." There's so much deceit amongst the people and so much haughtiness to believe that we know him or that he even knows us. But in knowing him, let me slow down. In knowing him, you overstand, as Pastor taught us the word overstand. In knowing him, you overstand and you understand what is forbidden. And examples would be things that come to my mind. Obviously coveting, dishonoring your father and your mother, disrespecting any widow, fornication and adultery, idolatry, uncleanliness, or eating unclean, or eating anything sacrificed unto idols. Wearing the apparel and the Gentile seducing garments of the world, makeup, makeup for appeal, all the lusts and the greeds of this world, chasing money, chasing dollars, wearing that which pertains to a man. Come on, Jennifer, what else is forbidden amongst us as daughters of Zion?
As daughters of Zion, not learning how to tame your tongue, still carrying the same speech and the same tongue that you carried in the world, jealousy, envy, things that cause us to be divided, things that cause you to not love your sister, things that we hold in our hearts and cause us to become bitter. Those things are forbidden, as spelled out, through the Messiah. And just because it doesn't say word for word what you're dealing with, if it's wicked, it's wicked. And sometimes we look for an out because we try to play on words, like we're talking about lying, telling a call, what the world will call a half-truth, not disclosing all the information to expose wickedness. So just not putting everything out there up front. That's also forbidden.
Absolutely. And even the Messiah, let's start here. Let's say we are truth seekers. Some of you were seeking the truth when you found Pastor. Some of us were not seeking the truth but found him either way. So when you come to the truth, even the Messiah says, what did you expect? This is in red letter, KJV. What did you expect of him, our Creator? Or what did you expect of the Messiah's pastor? What did you expect of his ministry? If Yahweh has a ministry on earth, what do you expect? What do you expect it to be like, look like? And he goes on, he says, a reed shaken in the wind? What did you expect, a reed shaken in the wind? That's a very unstable condition to be a reed shaken in the wind, right? Or he says, what did you expect, a man clothed in soft raiment? Did you expect to come across a ministry or a pastor or the truth and it to be delivered your way? He even says, did you expect to hear a prophet? You look behind that, it says an inspirational speaker, a poet, someone who's going to tickle your ears. Did you expect that? And he goes on to say, John was sent to you, but John came and he was what? Accused. He was accused of having a devil. John was sent to the people and he was accused of having a devil. Then he says that sent the Son. Jesus was accused of being what? A gluttonous winebibber, a friend of sinners. You see? So those who are sent are going to be greatly accused, greatly attacked. Those who follow him are going to fall into that category. What you have to have when you come across a true man of Yah and a ministry or someone who is leading your everlasting eternal soul, you have to have the strength and the passion inside of you that's going to burn so long and so strong that no one's testimony, which is a lie or a false witness that would rise above what you know to be true, could tear you down. Only the children here. Only the children. Any thoughts so far, Jennifer?
Yes, ma'am. You also have to really have a passion and a love for righteousness. You have to love the things that the Most High love, and you have to hate the things that he hates as well. And, we have to have this humility about us as well. When people fall away, we don't need to walk around with, a bunch of pride, thinking that, that not putting yourself in that person's shoes. It should put a fear upon you always. It should put a fear upon you because, you could be one step away from strong delusion and not even know it. So we have to be humble in the way that we approach the Most High. And we can't go to him praying, Father, I'm glad I'm not wicked like that sister right there. No, that's the wrong prayer. That is a haughty prayer. We need to pray, Father, please continue to keep me. Continue to keep me from my own wickedness myself. Continue to expose me. Put me on Front Street, Father, so that I can have salvation and true life and that I can spend eternity with you, Father. Whatever it takes, please. We got to go to him literally begging, but then we have to be obedient as well. We can't just beg and not be obedient. We have to do both. We have to be obedient and we have to be humble.
Very good. Obedient and humble, because you cannot hear from the Father and develop a relationship with him when you are willingly partaking in what is forbidden, which I just described some of those things. Sister Jennifer went into some of those things. So when you are willingly partaking in these things, it's different than, I'm noticing this about myself or my personality or my pattern. I need to change this. That's a will that is engaged in the battle and the fight, and you are trying to change yourself. It doesn't matter how long it may take. You are actively fighting against an old man in you, a nature that opposes the Messiah. But as I said, you can't truly hear from him or receive convictions from him when you are willingly partaking in what is forbidden. It doesn't matter if it is holding on to bitterness and unforgiveness, or it doesn't matter if it's unclean eating, or lust and greed and coveting. These things are thorns unto you. So what is forbidden, you must forsake. That's the other key, okay? So you refrain from what is forbidden, and then you forsake. That is what every faithful and righteous sister, brother, and saint that I know has done. They have all forsaken. So when you know him, truly know him, you know what you have to forsake. We've heard it before, correct? Jesus said, I come to divide father and mother. I come to divide daughter and mother-in-law. And he that loves the father or the mother, your father and your mother, more than me, the Messiah says, is not worthy of me. Or he that loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. So we're talking about forsaking. Whosoever does his will, the Father's will, he's my brother, he's my sister, he's my mother. That's the Messiah calling you his family. So everyone that forsakes houses, brothers, sisters, fathers, mother, wife, children, land, for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and inherit everlasting life. So what this ministry actually produces, and not just boots on the ground, the people that live here, I'm talking about those who follow Pastor Charles Dow as he follows the Messiah. Those who follow, this ministry produces abstaining from that which is forbidden in all those who follow. And it also produces forsaking all for Yeshua. That goes hand in hand. So there's too many clouds of witnesses of abstaining from that which is forbidden and forsaking all for Yeshua. There's too many testimonies after testimony after testimony. I could call so many people either on the phone or even on this land or in other communities that could testify of what they have walked away from and forsook. But yet there's always that deceiver and that mocker, or even that woman who questions everything. Well, where does it say that in the Bible? Lead me to that scripture. Answer that question for me. Show me where I can't wear pants. Show me where I got to take my makeup off. Show me where I got to put my head cover on. Show me where he didn't do this and he didn't do that, because I found this website and this internet page and it's tearing the ministry down. Show me. Lead me. But if it were written to you, woman, because I've talked to so many of you, if it was written for you and to you, you still would do your own will. It's not going to say, thou shalt not wear makeup, thou shalt not wear pants, thou shalt remove your jewelry, thou shalt not wear fingernail polish, thou shalt not wear your weaves and dye your hair and wear your extensions. All these things we do for the flesh, it's not going to put it into words for you, because you are going to do whatever you want to do. You're going to listen to who you want to listen to. You're going to follow the ministry you want to follow. And you're going to believe that you're following the Messiah. This is the deception. Jennifer?
You know, if you truly, when you come to this ministry and you learn about the culture of our people, if you truly cared about the restoration of the culture of our people, you would actually do your own independent study. And when you do that, you start questioning, why in the world was I ever doing this? Why in the world was I ever not covering my head? You know, you don't question the thing that's righteous when you really care about the culture. So, you know, we really have to follow and be obedient to the thing that the Most High is telling us. Be obedient, and then if you still have questions, he answers those questions along the way, instead of questioning first and then being obedient. No, you be obedient up front, and then he'll answer your questions as you go along, because he knows that you can be trusted. So, you know, you're not forsaking. If your Sister Ashley ran down the list of, you know, not forsaking. So if you're still not working toward getting out of the city, you know, something that Pastor Dow has instructed us, get out of the city, because, you know, you don't want to give up your comfortable, beautiful home and the convenience of, or what you think is convenience of city lifestyle. You know, if you haven't you're unwilling to give up brethren or sisters, those who even have dwelt among us, ones who used to fellowship with us. Are you still connected to them? Or have you followed the instructions and really given up and forsaken those who are not fit for the kingdom any longer? That's how you know if you're forsaking or not. It tells us to forsake father and mother. Do you still have ungodly soul ties with family members, or are you obeying your husband? Are you still trying to please your carnal family over your head, over the covering that the Most High has placed you under? It even talks about children. Do you have wicked, ungodly soul ties with your children that will separate you or cause you to despise the instruction of your husband, which will pull you away from the Most High Yah? So when it tells us to forsake these things, we have to really question. We have to go down the list and we have to ask, have I done this? Am I working toward this? Have I done this? Have I been working on this for 10 years? Why are you still working towards it? We have to really be about the action of doing it.
Absolutely, because as I said, you would still wear and do whatever you wanted to do, woman. You really would, because you are haughty. And to the ex-member sister named Kim had called here, had been here multiple times, and wanted to call me about, wearing that which pertains to a man, okay? And the mind, the conscious, is going to justify what you are wearing continually because it's very comfortable to fit in. And to make that step to go outside of what America looks like or wherever you are and to look different, it is a challenge, okay? It's a trial for you to overcome. So she is asked gently, kindly by her Hebrew Israelite husband to, please, this is what I want to see you in. This is what I want you to dress like. I want you to wear skirts. So then you're going to get on the phone and call me and ask me, where's the scripture that says I can't? There's some very modest apparel for women. It's very modest pantsuits. You see? So if it's not pants that pertains to a man, what the hell is it? Okay, let's say for the sake of the rest of the show, you know what? It's not pants. Let's exit that off. Don't wear that which pertains to a man. Do 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 do. What is it? Socks, underwear, boots, shirt. Take your shirt off. What is it? But we can't. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. Well, you know what, sister? If you would love your husband enough just to, obey his request, it wouldn't even matter if it were not in the scriptures, which you don't believe that it is, because you're looking for the exact. So how about just doing it for him? Because you are bound to him by covenant for the rest of your life. So what are you dressing for? What are you wearing your pantsuits for? He's asking you, this is how I want to see you. I would love to see you clothed like this. I will buy this for you. No, you know what? Deuce, I'm out. Divorce, gone. Gone from the ministry and gone from the husband. That's what happened. Because you want to wear the pants, spiritually and naturally. And jumping back to family, because if everyone around you forsakes their mother and their father and their brother and their cousin and their uncle and their family, you won't, because you don't want to. There's innumerable clouds of witnesses that have forsaken all. I'm not even going to spend tonight's show talking about the righteous saints that will receive crowns and glory for forsaking all. Father, brother, cousin, uncle, mother, families, children. But you deceive yourselves, listeners. You deceive yourselves believing to forsake what is required of you. But you have not forsaken. It's laid out before you. Yah has pressed it upon you, and you hold on to it. You hold on to it. And whatever's required of your soul, you haven't walked away from anything. You haven't walked away from anything. Jennifer, give me, please, give me some signs of inabilities to forsake, so that we will know that, we're not getting by, that the Father sees. What is something that I can look for within myself that proves to me I am not forsaking what is required of me?
It really boils down to the list that you just read off about, forsaking. You're not forsaking if you're still connected with those who oppose the ministry. You're still connected with those who have bitterness in their heart against the ministry. You don't know how to forsake. David talked about it in the Psalms, about how he used to fellowship. We had sweet fellowship together, he said. But he didn't continue to fellowship against those people, with those people, because they were enemies of the Most High Yah. So you're not forsaking if you're still connected to those people who have opposed the ministry. You're not forsaking if you don't want to give up your lands or your homes, if you don't want to turn those over for righteousness' sake. If you're still in the city, you're not forsaking all, because you're still takes a level of being uncomfortable to even move out of that comfort zone and to come into the country and to live and to stack up with a bunch of Hebrews, to allow iron to sharpen iron. You're not forsaking if you still have soul ties with your children and you're allowing them to rule your home and to rule your heart above what you would obey your husband. Whatever your husband tells you to do, you don't do it. But you're bowing down to your children and you're allowing the children to rule the home. You're not forsaking. You're just not. And I believe that for women, we need to have a relationship with the Most High Yah. If you really, truly have an earnest relationship with the Most High, your husband wouldn't have to tell you, I don't want you to wear pants anymore. I want you to cover your head. He wouldn't have to say it twice. He wouldn't have to say it 3 times. You would come across the truth as he comes across it. And as you see it, you would willingly accept it because you love Yah. And you would be willing to forsake the vanity, all the lust, everything that the world has to offer. You would forsake it. But you're not forsaking if you don't want to give that up. And you don't have a true relationship with Yah if your husband has to continually tell you how to dress modestly.
Hallelujah. And remember, let's not forget that we're actually speaking about the thorns, okay? The thorns in any of us, in you, that can choke out the word, okay? So you read about the rich man, and he says, I've done all these. He's having a conversation with the Messiah. I've done all these commandments from my youth up. So he's saying, since I was young, since I was little, I've done all the commandments that you speak of, Jesus. No murdering, no adultery, no stealing, and he is committing himself to this honestly, because this is what the Messiah has said unto him. There's no bearing false witness in me. I've honored my father and mother, and I've even loved my neighbor as myself. And anytime I've ever heard Pastor bring out this rich young man, he would say, we can't even say that. We can't even say that I've known the Messiah from my youth up, or that I have had no murder, no adultery, no stealing, no bearing false witness, etc., or that I've loved my neighbor as myself. We can't even say as much as he could say. So this man is what appears to be very clean. But he asked the question, what am I lacking? What am I lacking? And the Messiah says, if you want to be perfect, what does he tell him? Forsake. But in his words, he says, you go and you sell what you have. You give to the poor, because you'll have treasure in heaven. You need to come and follow me. But the young man hears the forsake all, the give all, and he walks away sorrowfully, the word says. Because what? He had great possessions. He had a lot. He didn't want to give up. Right? So if I got a lot of makeup, I don't want to give it up. I got a lot of extensions, I want to wear them. I got a lot of pants, I don't want to give them up. Whatever it is, you got to forsake this stuff. I got to walk away from my lands. I don't want to walk away from these things. I don't want to give up these thorns. And you may say, you know what? Why such a big deal about laying it all at the apostles' feet, giving up all, selling all that you have? Is Pastor Dow just want our money? Does Pastor Dow just want our lands? Okay. Let's call up Brother Delano. Brother Delano, come on up front, sir. Come up to the front of the tabernacle, and let's tell everyone what just happened to you and your family, sir. Okay? I bought this home, I bought this land, I paid for it, and now I'm giving it to Pastor Dow. Well, here's Pastor Dow saying, bless you. I return the deed to this land unto you, brother. You are the caretaker of this land. Let's put another brother with you. Okay? So he assumed a leadership or a authoritative position over the land by suggesting what we should do unto it, but he's giving it back to his brother to say, this belongs unto you. Jesus said, go and do, right? Go sell. The elders say, hey, go and do. Pastor says, go and do. Whatever the do is, what happens to us is we get grieved. I don't want to let go. I don't want to forsake. I don't want to walk away. I don't want to make this change, whatever it is. We're grieved. We're so heavy. Right? So, Sister Jennifer, tell me your thoughts, because it's get rid of this. That's a command, right? We forsake and get rid of this so that what? You will inherit this, because he says you'll have treasure in heaven. Forsake this, forbid this, meet the requirements. But we don't want to forsake our thorns. No, we don't. So I need you, Sister Jennifer, to give me example, one or more, of cares of this world that would choke out the word and make us unfruitful.
Cares of this world, really are caring about the things of this world. So, say you have a worldly family, and, like Pastor says, everyone does this when they come to the faith. They just want to share their experience of Yah with their family, and their family's not trying to listen at all, because Yah sent this to you, not to your family. So caring so much about your worldly family that you would be willing to put yourself in the way to risk salvation, caring about if you're a wife and your husband works, caring about how much money your husband makes. You could be very well taken care of, but in your eyes it's not enough because it doesn't meet or fulfill your worldly lust. Caring about what other people think about you instead of just really fearing Yah. So, those are just a few examples that I have.
Okay, let's move to the next step. Deceitfulness of riches. Give me an example, because I wouldn't assume that you would even have to be rich to be deceived by it. But this is, if you were listening to the word coming forth from this ministry, and you were allowing the thorns to choke out the word, which would be the deceitfulness of riches. Give me an example of how I would know if I was guilty.
Really thinking that you can use money to buy anything, or, using money or even materials, materialistic items as a way to sway the judgment of others or escaping righteous judgment, not wanting to let go of what you consider a rich, something that is valuable to you. And you don't have to be rich. It could just be something so valuable to you that it pulls you away from the Most High Yah, and it becomes your idol. So you're deceived by that which you think is worth more than the Most High, and you allow that deceit to carry you away.
Okay, lastly, wrap it up with the lust for other things, because the person who allows the thorns to choke out the word and becomes unfruitful has lust for other things. Let's go into that. Give me an example.
That could be like coveting, never being satisfied with what you do have. The flesh will never be satisfied. So you could come over here and you could hear the truth, and then, like Pastor tells us not to eat off other tables, you could easily try to go somewhere else if you're not really feeling the truth that's being told. So I don't think I don't want to hear that. So I have a lust for something else. So I want to go on this table that tells me that I can wear pants. I have a lust for something else. Coveting, someone else's husband, coveting someone else's jewelry, someone's worldly attire, knowing that I dress holy, but I'm still coveting the things of this world, and I'm never, ever satisfied.
Very good. I appreciate those examples. Those are good reflective points if y'all ever want to go back and listen to tonight's show, because we, when we hear the parable of the sower, we want to, a lot of us, the righteous, the faithful, we want to know where we fall, or where we fall short. So very good examples. I appreciate them. But the truth is, and we know this, daughters of Zion, but you love the world. You love the world. I think there has to be a very humbling acceptance to that truth, to say, yes, that's right, that's me. I love the world. I love the world in me and the world around me. Because at that moment, there can be change, if desired. But if you love the world and continue in it, of course, the love of the Father is not in you. And all that is in the world is what? The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life. So when you surround yourself, even myself, some of you, you hear my voice and you never met me, and you believe myself to be so strong. I'm actually just as weak as all of you. I am a weaker vessel. I am, given over to one man, Deacon Bell. I am a supporter of him, a prayer warrior for him, and I don't want to be relying upon my own strength or having false strength as I've had in the world. So continually denying myself, as the word says, picking up your stake or your cross and following the Messiah, lets you know how weak you actually are. So you are given over to the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life, each of us. And so if I were not amongst such a strong people, I don't believe that I would be able to produce the strength that some of you may see or hear in me. Because a lot of the strength that I've had, and that's some of your testimonies as well, your strength came from demonic forces. It is what it is. So you have to, deny yourself and accept your weakness and deny the lust of the flesh, deny the lust of the eyes and the pride of the life, so that you may be strong in him, and accept the fact that you have loved the world and you love to have your way. You love to control. You love to manipulate. You love your makeup. You love your pants. You love your seduction. It's your security. It's all you've ever known. So to deny yourself and to pick up his cross, his stake, follow him, that means to forsake. Forsake what? Let me go. I wrote it over here, Matthew 16:26. We don't even got to go to the scriptures because I think I jotted this down earlier. What is a man's advantage, or what profited a man, if he shall gain the whole world but lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? You see, this is happening every day, all day. Whether it's Hollywood, that's what y'all know about because you watch the videos that someone sold their soul to the devil because they wanted a music record. But what about this day-to-day exchange? What about this day-to-day lust and this day-to-day lack of forsaking and giving all? And our haughtiness and our pretending to so-called be clean is really appalling. It's appalling. So all we've done so far, sisters, is actually just build this part of the show so that we can go into, I'm going to give it over to you, Sister Jennifer. I want you to briefly describe our simple request to the audience for what we would love to see from them, what we would love to require of them. So everyone listen up. Sister Jennifer?
Yes, ma'am. I want to go into this a little bit, and Sister Ashley, I want you to add anything that I've missed. But, we've had a lot of people who have left this ministry, and they've had a lot of bitterness in their hearts as they left. And they've said things about the ministry that were totally, totally untrue. They've made up information. They've gone to other people. They've spewed lies into the ears of others. We always have new people out there on the internet searching for truth. And they may run across a video of an ex-Straitway member. So imagine if you're out there and you're looking for Straitway, you know, from the recommendation of someone. Say you listen to a show tonight for the first time and you're out there and you're wanting to look up Straitway Truth and just to see what this ministry is all about. And you come across a video from an ex-member and you hear a bunch of lies about Straitway. Well, you don't know they're lies. So you're listening to all this negative information being put out. You could potentially be swayed to not even the people of Yah, to not even meet the man of Yah because of false information being put out there. And, you know, Straitway is a ministry that pretty much has been, you know, they're very quiet when it comes to accusations. And the ministry has been very quiet for a long time. And it's time for us, sisters, if you have run across anyone, I'm talking about anyone, I don't care when it was, I don't care who it was, but if you've run across anyone who has left this ministry and they've affected you in any way and they've spewed lies out of their mouth to try and sway your opinion of anyone in this ministry, to try to pull you away from the fear of Yah, then what I want you to do is make a video, and I want you to expose that person. I want you to say their name. I want you to say who they are, the lies that they told. And then I want you to tell how you have personally been blessed by Straitway Truth Ministries. I want you to expose that person for the liar that they are. Now, a couple of years ago, there were some videos that were put out by honorable Straitway members, and they titled the videos Straitway Cult. And I remember the videos coming out because what was happening was people were, you know, say you go to Google. I want to Google Straitway. I type in Straitway, and Mr. Google brings up, I don't even have to type it. Mr. Google says Straitway Cult. So automatically, Mr. Google is putting us in a negative light. So if you're making your video, you want to make sure that, I know in the past we titled it Straitway Cult. Maybe you can title it Straitway Exposed. You can title it Straitway Testimony, whatever you want it to be. There's so much negative out there that it's really hard for the righteous people to find righteousness. So if you have been affected through the spewing of lies, through these people who have left, then it's time to really expose them. You know, maybe if you were on the land and someone whispered lies into your ear about Straitway and you found that to not be true, of course, I want you to go ahead and expose that person. So, again, you know, Pastor Dow is a very honorable man, and there's so many lies floating out there around about him, and he's very quiet about those things, very quiet, because he knows that it's not true at all. But it's really time for us to step up and expose those people for the liars that they are. If these lies have affected you in any way, you need to expose that person, what they said, the lies that they told, who they are. Don't be afraid to call them out by name. So I know definitely I will be putting my video out tomorrow morning. So y'all stay tuned, and I just pray that you all follow suit as well. Sister Ashley, please add.
Hallelujah. Very, very well put. And, you know, for new listeners, I know this show is a little more catered to those who have been damaged and maybe keeping their distance because of what is out there. It is a fearful thing to come across the lies. It is a fearful thing to come across the websites that are opposing this ministry because you haven't seen us, hugged us, fellowshiped with us, broke bread with us. So you may have a lot of red flags. And I remember a particular comment that was made about me on a .com website where this person was stating that, you know, for our show, for Jennifer and I, that it was very scary to see how much passion I had for lies, you see? So I know we have every kind of enemy and every kind of listener opposing us, but I ask each of you, every single one of you, a question for your own heart. Where is your passion for what you believe in? Because even Paul said, whether in pretense or in truth, I am so glad that Jesus is preached. Pretense means falsely or in a lie. So he's still glad that, you're out there proclaiming the gospel because you're going to bring people to the truth. So there is those who were with us at one time that have forsaken the Father and forsaken us. Yes, we say that if you forsake us as a people and as a body, that you have forsaken the Father. That is a key point for a lot of, I've heard it many times, a lot of those who fall away, they wanna quote that as if we are saying, you can't be with the Father if you leave us, you can't be loved by the Father if you leave us, you can't be holy if you leave us, all these things. We are basing that statement that if you forsake us, you're forsaking the Father. We're basing that statement. These are my words, not pastors. That we are basing that upon the lives of those who have walked away. Because when you walk away from His people, you walk away from conviction, and you embrace the world, and you forsake the Father. Now, when you go to type in Straitway cult or Straitway exposed or, all the many accusations that come against Pastor Dow, you're going to see let's start at the top. There's a guy named Eric Moore. Never seen him, never met him, never heard of him. He has a video where he proclaims that he has God's discernment, and he's inspired to speak against us, and he sees right through us, and he says Pastor is really wicked and he's demonic. And he goes on 10, 15 minutes because Yah has laid it on his heart to really do this video to draw people away from such deception. Now, as I said earlier, there are those who were with us that have forsaken us, but there are those who we have never met, never saw, never embraced that are opposing us as well. So I'm stating a few of those first and foremost because you have the Jedediah Malik. And he did a video, and I don't give time to this. It's just when you're trying to, even for tonight's show, try to find what people could be finding before they find the way or the straight way, you're going to find Jedediah Malik. He had 3 witnesses that visited him or at least did a video or audio with him, maybe by phone call or whatever. He calls them Eliyahu, Adonijah, and Daniel. These are brothers or ex-members, he says. We don't know Eliyahu, Adonijah, and Daniel. We don't know these brothers or these men at all. We never even laid eyes on them. Either that or they're disguising who they even are. But they're proclaiming to be brothers or ex-members, and they're mad because why? We are Edomites mixed with Hebrews that attend this ministry. We have children that are bastards amongst us, and we are doing shame unto the Israelite heritage. That's what his big fight is, his big kick. And he's never met us, never known us, and he apparently is deceived and darkened because he doesn't know the light of the word. And then there's the older white man, what is his name? Alahamu. And he's accusing Pastor Dow of being the Most High, believing himself to be the Most High, calling him to be a sick man, a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. There's this brother Dawid who started a whole .com website, StraitwayLifeMinistries.com. I had that pulled up earlier because I was like, I can't believe some of this stuff. I don't see it. I don't look for it. I don't know. I just live life. Fake Pastor Dow destroyed by Pastor David Manning. Who's David Manning? I don't know him. I live here. Do you understand? There's topics.com with literally those crying out about us on topics.com, based out of our town. And there's let me go there. There's a I say it's a girl because she says me and my brother. She labels herself as Still Hurting. That's her title, Still Hurting. And she literally paragraph after paragraph after sentence after post after post, so much that she's got to post again another time, another day, goes on and on with what she calls her personal experience as a child here. Do you know how impactful that can be to someone who's trying to find the way? And you're simply just out here trying to seek the truth. You're calling yourself still hurting. Where's your Messiah? Where's your deliverance? Where's your healing? I proclaim to be set free. Week after week, I'm overcoming and not being overcame, and I'm not still hurting. I live here. I embrace these people and the man of Yah, but you're still hurting? Who are you? What's your name? And literally, sentence after sentence. This is very powerful against us. So as Pastor said in his recent video about a man named Eric Gonzalez, it's our time to speak. It's our time to talk. It's our time to tell the truth. And then when it's over, it's over. Because I've always noticed Pastor's patience when it comes to opposition. Because he's not the man to rise up in the flesh and oppose anyone coming against him. Because the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the pulling down of strongholds. We fight a different fight, a spiritual fight. But when I said, okay, those are some of the names and some of the websites and the things that are going on about us, Jennifer, that we don't know these people, that I'm sure that's going to continue. We have briefly met Kathy, Alufamalayo, right, Smith, and her videos with why I left Straitway. Even my Swedish sister over here, my Hebrew sister from Sweden, she had run across those, and it angered her. Like, who is this, right? She's shaking her head going, yes, ma'am, because that was everywhere. You might have saw my video against her because I came across it merely by accident. And passion ignited in me because you've been here twice at a time where there was a lot of people here. You never came with just you and your family when it was much like it is now with my sister Adele beside of me, how it's just us. You get the fellowship, break bread, eat, work, laugh, all those things with us. Kathy Smith came 2 times. We don't know you. But why you left Straitway, proclaiming to the world, and then building your video audience and your subscribers based upon those who may have fallen away, those who may have forsaken, those who saw a red flag and left and got the hell up out of here, or just simply trying to do Yah's will by warning those to stay away from us. You see, so she had this willful intention to divide. So there's those who we don't know, Jennifer, and those who were with us makes a little bit more of an impact, because that's why I asked you earlier, Daughters of Zion, when someone falls, male, female, brother, sister, it doesn't matter. When they take their testimony or their lie with them and their bitterness with them, you have to stand strong enough and endure to the end that you're not going to go the same road they went. And that lie sounds real good if you've been entertaining the enemy. But we've seen, for example, when I came here, I met a sister. I was living an hour away. Her name is Marley. I was living an hour away from this community. And her and Sister Vicky, who is still faithful and with us, they would come to see me, every once in a while, not many visits. And I was completely deceived by this woman. I thought this was a righteous, holy woman. She talked a good game. She knew the word. She could cast out spirits, etc., etc. I built a relationship with her. I stayed with her on the weekends. I was in her house. When I moved to the land, I spent time and one-on-one with her. And guess what happened? I'm young. She's a stumbling block. And I got my heart broke. Because I started to smell liquor on your breath at 6 a.m. You're drunk in the kitchen cooking for all these righteous saints. You've been drinking vodka in your coffee. You've been burning bread for the saints and serving it burnt. You've been leaving broth chicken broth, beef broth, whatever you made out all night, but because your dumbass forgot to put it in the refrigerator, you're going to serve it to us anyway and make everybody sick. And all the talent that she had in cooking, and she was extremely talented. When I met her, in 1 year, all that talent was taken away, completely removed from her, to where she was serving meals that looked like dog food. My heart was broken. I remember one altercation we had. One. You know how women are, right? We're going to express ourselves. I expressed myself to her. And I told her how much she hurt me and how deceived I was because she pretended to be one way, and when I got to the land, you another. And you was here on this land from the beginning, and you know what you did? And you know she ain't listening because she ain't living right. She going to leave this ministry and go out and hook up with Jedediah Malik, Eric Gonzalez, and who the hell ever else was on that video. It might have been some woman, some man. They state their name. They state photos, but not of themselves. They flash all this stuff that they believe to be true and speak down about the ministry. And it makes such an impact because you was here from the beginning, see? You were here for 12 or 13 years or however long. But the truth be told, you fell for a man. You fell for a marriage. And you forsook the people. And you forsook Yah. And every talent that you had and all that you proclaimed to have was robbed from you in 1 year. And in my first year experience with her, she was gone. She was removed. She removed her own self. Anything so far, Jennifer? Because I got more examples.
I have a question in the chat room, actually. It says, is it all right if I am not allowed to show my face, just a recording and a blank background? So this person is asking if they make a video, if they can just make a video not showing who they are. I say absolutely, of course. You know, we just really need the testimony and the voice. What do you say, Sister Ashley?
I say the wicked flee when no man pursue. I've never seen a righteous Israelite ever hide their face. I pray that if you are, and if you're a sister asking, it would only be under the instruction of your husband that you don't show your face. And, of course, we would support you 100%. But if there is another reason or a fear that does not come from the Father that would make you want to do so, I would ask you to overcome and to put your face out there. So at the same time, you got a good answer from Jennifer. You got one from me, and you're not going to make a mistake by telling a truthful testimony. But what we need is those who are righteously standing up for the truth, that we don't look like what the enemy looks like, because the enemy hides his face all the time. I've seen the videos before. We had a man do a video and send it specifically to Pastor, attacking him, and he had literally darkened himself, and he sat in the shadows. And the way that he attacked was, who are you? So you don't want someone to go, well, who is this? Why are you going to stand up and testify righteously and speak of the truth, but yet you're afraid to say who you are or show who you are? Because there's nothing that I do. You want to turn the camera on me on every show, every week, I would do it. I would drive with a camera in front of my face. I would live with a camera in my living room. Because that's the kind of fear. Yah is a camera. Do you understand? His eyes are to and fro all over this earth, all over the righteous. So I'm just very passionate to expose the enemy and to show how righteous we are as a people. So that's why I answer you with so much passion. But at the same time, please follow the instruction of your husband, or even depending upon the content of what you may have to say, maybe you do need to hide who you are, because I don't know your story. And don't let my words of passion sway you, because at the same time my words may help someone else to speak the truth and show themselves. And I appreciate you being willing to show who you are, even just in a darkened image. Thank you, Jennifer. Anything
Hallelujah.
Else before I move forward?
Yes, ma'am. She did reply. She said that her husband does not want her to. It's a very good answer. Follow the instruction of your husband. If you don't have instruction from your husband, like Sister Ashley stated, if it's for reasons of fearing man, you really got to get over that fear. I remember we did that show when there was an Israelite feminist, quote unquote, who did an interview about one of our shows. And it was interesting that they disguised their names. They changed their names. And, you know, what Sister Ashley said is definitely correct. You know, we don't flee. We don't flee at all because we're righteous. However, you've been given instruction from your husband. That's totally different. He has different reasons in mind. So we totally understand that as well. I wanted to say, you know, there's some testimonies, and I believe that's on Straitway Tech Team. I need to actually find that, but they're called Overcomer. Sister Ashley, do you remember that series, Overcomer Testimonies? And I believe it was like maybe a 4 to 5 part series. If y'all go back to that series, you can pretty much find all the people who are no longer here. You can find testimonies of people who are no longer under this ministry. If not in the Overcomer series, you can find it somewhere on Pastor Dow's page of these people testifying to the goodness of Yah, the goodness of Straitway Truth Ministries. You know, how this is the place that Yah has placed his name. And so now these people are coming out with lies and totally different testimonies, and they're just plain double-minded. So if you go back, look at those testimonies, look at the Overcomer testimonies, and see what those testimonies are today. See if those people are actually still with us today. You know, it's very important to not listen to the voice of the viper. I knew a woman who sat in the midst of a bunch of vipers. She never said anything, but she listened. And this woman to this day is no longer with us. Now just think of that. She never said anything, but she got bit. She never said anything, but the venom was still in her heart. And she allowed that venom to carry her away. So if you've been listening to the voice of the viper, you've been listening to lies, you need to expose these people for who they are. You really do. Make your video. Tell about how Straitway has blessed you. Tell about how this person lied on Straitway Truth Ministries. So, Ashley?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And to the sister who is asking, you know, if it's all right, you know, and I'm not allowed to show my face, thank you. Just thank you for even standing up and saying what you're going to say. I appreciate you just even having the righteous response to our simple request, because it can be very powerful, and it could literally save a soul, and that's what it's about. Let's go back to another example of someone who has forsaken us, you know, as a people, forsaken me or a pastor, because you always, you know, we get attacked as if we are the ones always doing the action that causes the hurt. And I've seen a young man, Philip. His name was Philip, and his wife's name was Yannick. And I personally helped her with deliverance. Their very first visit, because he was white and she was black, they were seeking understanding, very confused from some of the former, you know, churches or places that they had been in contact with that had scared them from the fact that they were allowed to be together. And because of that, they sought, you know, the truth, and they were brought to Deacon and I, which he was not Deacon at the time. They were brought to our home on their very first visit. I physically had an ailment, an illness that was upon me, and I was in great pain. And just, you know, as we all have our stories of the things that we go through for faith's sake, it is my personal conviction, as well as my husband's, that we do not seek doctors unless there is a great need. So as we waited for healing and for time to transpire with what we were enduring, we still came out of our home, which I was staying in at the time, to put on a smile and to minister and to show the joy of Yahweh to this couple, that this is accepted, that it is not a color scheme. It is a nation of acceptance of laws, of customs, of traditions, of how we live together, work together, walk together. If you want to call me an Edomite, I'm simply, hey, I'm an Israelite because I'm married to an Israelite. if you want to, follow that biblical custom. But we came out of the house under what I could say excruciating conditions or pain to minister. And I saw him forsake things, give gifts, bless the saints, give his life over to what I would say the ministry, but unto the Father, just so on fire for the truth. He received the Holy Spirit in a manner that is spoken of even in Pastor's newsletter. This brother received the Holy Spirit here with us, overwhelmingly, filled to the brim, as they may say. And he was running for his life, very, very excited, and we love to be around him. So as time transpired, his wife, Yannick, who turned out to be she was into voodoo. She knew the power of it. She could withhold. She knew how to send a curse of death. She gave examples of demonic things that she had the capability to do as an individual before the faith. These are the things that she shared with me privately in deliverance. She had power under witchcraft, okay? So as she sought freedom and didn't receive it, she turned. She turned on us, she turned on him, and she tried to take him from the faith. And enough of her venom and spitting in his ear and hatred for us carried him away. They wanted things back that they had given. It would be like, Sister Jennifer, here's this head cover, and then boom, 3 years later I leave the faith and I want my head cover back, right? But yeah, we had given money, and we had given, Sister Carol had given products too. So there was an equal giving, and now you want everything back. And so what happened is, because she turns out to be a very strong Jezebel, she starts a website against us. Yannick is her name. She starts a website against us. She's maybe been here 4 or 5 times. He's been here more. He traveled here more. I'm taking number guesses, but this is reality. This is what's happening, and you're going, huh? What happened to this brother that was on fire for the Father, that you love to be around? He was swayed by this powerful woman that refused to change and didn't want to give up. Guess what she didn't want to give up? She didn't want to give up her looks, her vanity, her hair, her makeup, and her bikinis. She wanted to go to the beach undressed, and she could not believe that we don't do that. That's a true testimony. We've seen a family guess how far they live from here. This is going to stun those that are in, Canada or Australia or so far away that you would literally walk here if you could. They live 1 mile. 1 mile. We drive by their house every single time if you ever leave our community. And they forsook Christianity. They forsook their family that fought them against the way. They dedicated their time to helping the saints. They came to visit. This is when I was first here. This is what was going on. A beautiful family, husband and wife and 3 children, and they would dedicate their time to helping the saints. They would lead praise and worship service and sing for the Father and write music for the Father. All of them either played instruments or they sang, and he was healed from Crohn's disease. He was left for dead from the hospital. And with no promise of any life, he was healed by the Messiah through this ministry. Completely healed off of a deathbed. But over time, just to turn and to say that, hey, we're trying to take their children from them. And to completely move out of their house, which is 1 mile away, for at least a year, because they were too afraid to be near us. They didn't want to be near us. We're trying to take their children. They forsook us. They walked away from us. Nothing was instigated. There was no argument. There was no contention. Nothing to go back to the vomit. Now the pagan Christmas tree is up every year, because when they return back to their home, and believe me when I say it was abandoned, because they didn't mow the yard, it was overgrown, they were gone. They come back to their home all this time later, and now it's celebrating the holidays. And I ran into my cousin, because y'all know my roots are born and raised right here. I got a huge family less than 15 minutes down the road on my father's side. I'm telling you, it's probably 45 grandchildren, 75 great-grandchildren, 14 siblings my dad had. Uncles and aunts, I got 14 of them. They're all right down the street. And I run into one of them in town. I always run into family when I go out. And they see the appearance, you know, they see the change, and they see what I look like, and she's appalled. She says, "It's true? You really do live at the cult where every woman there has to have sex with the pastor? Where you hear this from?" "Oh, such and such sister that lived 1 mile from here, that left and abandoned us and forsook us and walked away from the Father and returned to Christianity and returned to her vomit. She told you that? She told you that?" I'm having this conversation. I'm blown away. Really? Jennifer, what say you?
You know, Sister Ashley, you've seen a lot. You've been on the land for so long, and you've seen a lot of people come and a lot of people go. You know, within our short time here, we've had people come and go and actually spew lies into the ears of other people. We used to have double the amount of saints that we have now, currently. And there was a woman who used to fellowship with us. Her name was Cherie Wellington, Barbara Wellington. But we called her Sister Cherie. And she came in with she's a really good worker. She came in giving gifts and, with nice, smooth words. And I remember there came a point when she desired to homeschool her children. She seemed to really want to live a righteous life. And so the sisters here gave everything that we could give her. We loved and we corrected when she needed to be corrected. She wanted to homeschool her children. She still worked a full-time job. And so I remember going to discussing this with Elder, and, he was all for it. And I remember going to her and saying, you're working a full-time job. You want to homeschool your children. Let us help you out. Let us help you with the homeschooling of your children. So her children were here 5 days a week, typically, sometimes 7 days a week. They lived here. We fed them. We schooled them. We took care of them. It was our pleasure to do it because we loved these children very much. And then over time, this particular person, Cherie, started spewing hatred into the ears of the other saints who were coming. People started to pull away. People started to kind of behave a little differently. And we knew something was going on. We knew something was wicked. We started praying against the contrary woman. We started praying that Father would remove the contrary spirit that was in the home. This woman would go to feast days, and she would talk about our elder here to other saints. This woman stayed in contact with people just so she could speak against our elder here. She caused many to fall away. Many believed her lies, and as a result, our fellowship was divided in half, which is good because, we're so much lighter because of that. We don't bear that burden anymore at all. This woman went up to Pennsylvania. The same thing happened. Another fellowship was divided in half. And this was over a matter of, I believe it was 2 years. This woman divided 2 separate fellowships in half. And that's her fruit. That's the fruit of Jezebel. That's the fruit of someone who sits in the deliverance chair but never gets deliverance. That's the one who says every week, oh, I need deliverance. Oh, I need deliverance. Oh, I need deliverance. But they never change. So when we talk about deliverance and we talk about really working on your heart, It's not about sitting in a chair. It's not about that at all. It's really about working on the wickedness of your heart. She had accusations flying around about our elder. And I know there's going to be a high price for her to pay. Many of you may have even heard her accusations. And I pray that you're not still connected to her. You know, even these people that we're talking about, some of them are on Facebook. Some of them you're still connected with. Some of them, you know, they put photos up. You like them. You like their photos. Their heads are uncovered. They got pants on, leggings on, showing their behind, showing their breasts. You like their photos. What's in you, though? What kind of lust is in you that would make you like someone's photo who's no longer in the faith? They're not dressing holy. What kind of lust is in you? They're dyeing their children's hair. I don't understand. You got to ask yourself, what is in you? Why would you like that? Knowing that that's not our custom. We don't color our hair. Why would you like a photo of someone coloring their hair? Sister Ashley?
The arrogance that some have to be so-called servants and so-called followers and be with us. I even ran across, well, actually another sister, because I don't do the social media thing, but another sister on the land had come across someone last week. I don't remember his name, but his entire title all over his page was follower of Pastor Dow, disciple of Pastor Dow. All that. We don't know him. We do not even know who this cat is. But to end up deceiving other newcomers, that's arrogance. You deserve the pit, because what will you exchange for your soul, daughter Zion? What will you exchange? You're going to take the word for how it is or how it's presented, or are you going to like somebody's photo on Facebook, follow some deceiver who has a good story to tell, just so you can say they're just like everybody else. Pastor Dow's just like every other minister, so you can remain alone and you will never be fed and your soul will go to hell. What are you looking for? What did you think you would find? Because we are a very different people. What will you hold on to when you're required to give something up? You know what would be funny? It would be nice, Sister Jennifer, but it would be real nice to see Yahweh print us some T-shirts. You know, go ahead and print us all a T-shirt. Every single listener tonight, print a T-shirt with all the things that we refuse to do for him, we refuse to forsake for him. Just give us a title, Father. Let somebody's shirt say whore, adulterer, harlot. Let's tell it all. Let us all wear what we are so we no longer hide. Right? Because when you see the shirts of these members of Straitway, those who truly follow, and we got the title, holy, righteous, striving, running, my servant, my faithful one, then you would shut your mouth. But let me tell you another story, and this is the last one. There was a woman that had 3 children, okay? She was very, very successful in the world. And she was so happy to find people like us. She was so happy. I want y'all to take this story to heart, because this could be you. She was a lover of truth, and she was so joyful. She befriended Mother Carol, and she became a spiritual dynamo with all her health knowledge, with her healing hands, with her gift from the Father that he says, I will not repent for. What he has given unto his people, he's not going to repent for or take back. She cast out many spirits, prayed for the sick, they recovered. You know, she grew close to Pastor. She grew close to Straitway. Years of a relationship building. You know, eating out at restaurants with us, with the members, having people over to her home, feeding them, bringing desserts. She brought her 3 children into the truth. That's very impactful because they're all over the ages of 20 now. So that we're not talking about little bitty tykes, little toddlers. No, she brought 3 souls into the truth, and you could say 4 really because of her husband. Because she showed the truth to her husband. When she came across it, she shared it, and they embraced it because she was living it. She had the power of influence. So this man became a mechanic for us. And he fixed things for years for the saints, you know. Sometimes there was a small charge, sometimes a small discount, sometimes free. But he was a great helper, and he knew a lot. So we relied upon him for his knowledge if something broke down here. You know, Elder Becker, et cetera, Brother Brett, and all those. They're very well equipped with that knowledge. But when you find someone that fills in the gap, and you can take an elder and allow him to do something else, that was very impactful. So he's fixing things for years, and she even traveled to other homes or ministries with the saints. Like if pastor would go to heal or to preach somewhere else or to another state, she would travel. And she would never miss because she wanted to be in on that deliverance or in on that preach. She wanted to hear everything that was produced. And she wanted to be with the saints. And as I said, she cooked desserts every Sabbath for us. She bought many gifts. You know, she shared her knowledge to anyone, which was a lot, especially concerning health. Anybody who needed her, she was there. And she said, you know, Pastor, do you want my land? You know, do you want my home? You know, I'll sell all. I'll follow you. I'll follow Christ. And it's not about that for him. So no, ma'am. You know, no, ma'am. I don't. And I'm not even. I can't even tell you why it was a no. But he was no. You know, he wasn't interested. He doesn't want her home or her land. So it was a no. So you know, you keep it. So. She took her earrings out, and you know, I gotta stop right there for a second because I can just imagine how some people may hear our show and it just crawls under their skin that we're so against strange ornaments, strange gods, strange garments. But really, as Jennifer even said earlier, about the woman who's liking, or if you're clicking and liking somebody who's dyeing their hair, you got to abhor these other nations. You got to abhor the world we live in and embrace our custom. Our custom is not all this bullshit. It's not all this wearing of the strange apparel and the garments and looking like the world. You may lust and like it and want to be like it, but you need to let go of it as fast as you possibly can. So she would take the earrings out. And she wouldn't wear any makeup, but when you would see her around here, like if you went out of town, right, and you saw her, she'd have on jeans, she'd have on pants, she'd have on tank tops, she would have on shorts, right? So all that she was doing amongst us, or dressing with head covers and with skirts with us, she wasn't doing that on her own. And this went on for years. So she'd wear a head covering with the saints, because the saints, we bring strength, right? It's kind of like some of you know, let me wear a head covering because I'm going to Shabbat. But then nothing in public, nothing, you know, dressed just like the Gentiles. Even Yah don't even see you dressed set apart. And we loved and we endured her, and we didn't mind her inconsistencies, you know, because she has the testimony of Christ. She has to be an overcomer. We're commanded to love and endure and to wait upon any change. So we're not forcing anything upon anyone. We never have. So the interesting thing is, though, being a very educated woman and very intellectual, and very, when I say very, I'm meaning it, okay? She fought racial battles in the school that she worked in, and mind you, 30-plus years of educational background. She fought racial battles in the school system because of the discrimination that she was enduring for black Pastor Dow, right? Because the racism in this town is, you've seen the videos. You saw the F nigger painted on the bridge right down the road from us. You saw the Nazi symbol spray painted two lands over at our neighbor's house. so she stood and she protested and she fought, even bringing down a racial superintendent for his slander against how she was living and who she was following, because she was standing for this. But what happens is she started, distancing herself. I hope y'all are listening. She started to distance herself and spend time with brand new, unstable, unrighteous, so-called professing Israelites, like Rainey or Christine, and she's spending time with people who have not established a firm foundation in the Father, that have traveled, yes, hallelujah, forsaken all. You done traveled and moved from Timbuktu, but you haven't proven yourself yet in spirit, in fruit, right? So she starts to be and spend time with them, befriend them. So she befriends wavering doubters, and she becomes companions with the viper that Pastor has taught us about. And she left here, okay? Y'all hear me? She left here, left this ministry, forsook us, and walked away from our testimony, our Father, dragging 2 children and her husband with her. Now, she denied her friendships established over 10 years of time. Now, how did she deny it? Because she walked away from that. Do you understand? She spent over 10 years at this ministry and walks away. And so over a 10-year time period, for her own lust, her own riches, her own life, her own truth, her own emotions, everything that's driving her away from here, there's no altercation that's happened. There's no confrontation. There's no accusation. There's nothing that you can prove or lay to our charge. But you team up with the viper and you walk away. And let me tell you, this is the most impactful part of the story, because I'm calling it out. She drove to her daughter's house 1 week from walking away after 10 plus years. She drove to her daughter's house in the middle of the night. Her daughter was in the shower. This is the daughter that she also drug with her away from the ministry. Her daughter was in the shower. She asked her daughter's husband to come outside to have a conversation outside with her and her husband. So this man comes out who has never came to the ministry, who has never partaken in the fellowship or the breaking of bread or anything that we've ever had. All he's done is simply allowed his wife to come. Okay? So daughter's in the shower, husband comes out to talk to woman and man that have left the ministry in the middle of the night, and she tells her daughter's husband that there are sex scandals occurring on our land, this land. And I'm not going into detail with some of the profane accusations that she told this man. But that husband went into the house, throwing items in the home violently, demanding to know the truth, that if his wife had slept with the pastor here, he wanted to know. He divorced that woman immediately and wrote up in his divorce statement that his children are not allowed on this land. And he filed for divorce because he accused his wife of sleeping with Pastor Dow. And who is that woman? Some of you done figured it out, right? Who is the woman who has forsaken her Elohim and forsaken his people? That's my mother. Her name is Cindy Bridwell. My blood mother. I've been asked, do you talk to her? Do you see her? No. Do you want to see her? No. Will you talk to her? No. I will forsake all for the Messiah. You do not leave this place, this ministry, my family, turn your back, lie and accuse, and want to be in my life, and then try to paint some picture, which I know she would do, that she would do a great job with my children, that she just loves her grandbabies. that she won't say nothing or do nothing or oppose us at all. No, you opposed us the moment you walked away from us because you lied and you said you would not lie. You said that you would not say anything against us when you left because you said you didn't have anything to say against us. My mother lives 10 minutes from me. I drive by her house every time I leave this land. I pray every time I leave this land. I don't lay eyes on her. And this is love. This is not harsh. Because you rejected me. You rejected my people. You rejected my Elohim. Now how can I stand before my king and say that I have forsaken anything for his name's sake when I hold on to my biological mother? And if this has any impact on you, I'm telling you now, there are innumerable testimonies of the saints on this land that can move you with tears of what they have forsaken and given up. We are the ones that are kicked against and rejected and accused. We are the people of Yah. We are the ministry of Yah. I follow a man of Yah. We have done nothing to you and nothing to anyone that is risen up against us. Help me, Jennifer.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. It truly requires to forsake all, to not be afraid to be lied upon. We're not concerned about being liked. We're concerned about pleasing the Most High Yah. You know, there was a sister who came to this ministry around the same time I did. Her name was Charmise. She was a young, very young daughter of Zion, and I took her under my wing per her request. She asked me, is it okay if I call you and ask you questions? Absolutely. You know, I was new to this thing too, and I just wanted to encourage her as I received encouragement. And so I started to see her gravitate to people who didn't want to live holy, people who didn't dress holy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. How did I know? Because I had access to the Facebook page, and I knew what they were wearing. So Charmise would come to the land for feasts, and she would spend time away from the land. You're coming for a feast, but you want to leave as soon as you get here. And she would spend time with the people who didn't want to dress holy, the people who didn't want to live holy. And I remember going to her in love and saying, sis, I see you spending time with this person. This is not good for you, and you need to ask yourself, why are you drawn to this? Became offended. She lied on me and said that I was gossiping about another sister, you know, and all I was doing was actually loving her. She's no longer with the ministry. And the sisters that she used to hang out with, they're no longer with the ministry either. So we have to really be more interested in being righteous. We truly do. I'm not here to be liked. I'm really not. You know, you look at who my husband is. I'm his wife. I have assimilated to him. He's not concerned about being liked, and I'm not either. I'm concerned about obedience. I want to receive a crown, and that's what I'm here for on this earth. Right, Sister Ashley?
So right and so true. And, you know, when you have forsaken your family, which is it's very hard for some of you to do, you have to question your own spirit and say, why am I holding on to someone that's so negative for me? You know, I've even heard the comments about us that, you know, they command you to let go of your family. You know, they command you not to have relationships with your own mother and your own this and your own. I've heard so much. And the interesting thing is when you have a relationship with the Father, you build your own personal convictions, not based upon your own truth, of course, because if it were your own truth, it would be easy to do. But because these convictions are coming from our Father and He places them upon the righteous and we have one mind, there's a lot of power in our unity. And when you are outside of that and you have never let go of anything or forsaken anything, we can't walk together and be in agreement. Because I don't know what it's like to hold on to mom, dad, this, that, whoever, lands, homes. You know, I don't know what that's like because I'm sold out. I'm sold out for the Father. So no, we're not here to be liked. And at the same time, it does sound harsh to possibly a new listener. You know, even my sister from Sweden, she stepped out earlier, but you know, she said, "Wow, you know, you're nothing like what you sound like on the show." You know, and I had to laugh because I know I'm not. You know, I may sound a certain way, and I can't do this show fearing how I may sound or how you may receive me. I have to literally deliver whatever is inside of me, out of me, and walk away liberated, you know. And so with that said, I am free from anything that may come in your mind when you hear a passionate story about someone forsaking, you know, their father or mother or a son. You know, there's a lot of family things that occur, and it brings emotions. And when you sort through those emotions and you get a lot of deliverance and freedom, you're free from unforgiveness, and I am, you know, free from bitterness. I love my mom greatly. I don't hold anything to her. You know, she's made mistakes, of course. I often thought to myself, what will I do when she passes? You know, she lives right down the road. What will I do when she dies? And that's definitely not the time to run to a burial. I'm just meaning, what will my emotion be? Because I don't have any emotions that tie me to her or control me any longer. I'm very free. So when you do let go of those that are not bringing your soul life, when you let go of the lies that you may have believed from Eric Gonzalez, etc., those who were mighty deceivers amongst us, when you let go of all that, there's no agenda in you. There's no unforgiveness. You don't even think like that. Do you understand? It sounds harsh to say, wow, I know a mother that lives on this land who walked away from her son. I know a mother who walked away from her 3 children. You know, I know a dad who walked away from his son and daughter. I know a man and a woman who watched their son and daughter return to the world and let them go. You know, it sounds harsh because you haven't seen it. You don't live with us. You don't know what it's like to just keep on running and keep on striving. But there's great requirements for us, Daughters of Zion. Great requirements. We're not measuring up. We are not. And if you're so worried about your day and what you got going on and how tired you are, and I got to finish this, and I got to get up and do this, and oh, I'm pregnant again, and oh, this and that, and what are you doing? Where's your passion for what you believe in? Where's your forsaking? Where's your abstaining from that which is forbidden? I have said enough. I hope you were blessed by this show. I ask of you, Sister Jennifer, to please end this show, and I'll sound off with the shofar.
Remember, Daughters of Zion, anyone who puts her hand to the plow and looks back, she's not fit for the kingdom. And I pray that you truly, truly take these words into your heart and meditate on them and consider your actions going forward. Really purpose in your heart to love Yah in action and not just in word. Shalom.
And Yahweh Elohim said,
"It is not good for the man to be alone. I am going to make a helper for him as his counterpart."
Holy Yahweh Almighty, we're singing.